Hello, everyone, and welcome to this information session on the UBC Certificate in Biomedical Visualization and Communication. My name is Bea, and I'm going to be leading us through this webinar today. I do want to, before we get started, just acknowledge that I'm joining from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations, also known as the Lower Mainland and Vancouver in Canada. Our panelists are joining from many different places, and this program is offered fully online. Okay, so with us today, we have Paige Bloomer, who is one of the instructors in the BMVC program. She is our biomedical visualization specialist and our mentorship lead. Dr. Claudia Krebs is also with us. She is the program director and is a professor of teaching at UBC. And then, as I said, my name is Bea, and I am the program coordinator for the BMVC program, and I'm also a learning experience designer at the Hive. Unfortunately, due to my own poor planning, I've set the settings such that the panelists are unable to turn on their cameras, and I am not able to fix it fast enough right now for the webinar. So you will hear their lovely voices. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see their lovely faces. In addition to us three from the instructional team with BMVC, we also have some student guests that we're really excited to have with us today. So we have 4 students from BMVC, one from every year of each cohort we have run. So we have Cameron Kirk is here. He is a current student in the 2024 cohort. He's 2/3 of the way through the program. We're excited to have Cameron here. Jennifer Walter was a student in our cohort last year in the 2023 cohort. Ravneet Jora was in our 22 cohort, and Olivia Aguiar was in our very first cohort. So all 4 are here to share their experiences. They all have very different pathways and journeys that brought them to BMVC and then through BMVC, and for our 3 alumni, what they have done since then. So we're going to hear from them later in the info session. So I'm going to talk about, just go over the agenda, give a quick overview of the program. We're going to start with the program highlights, the format, what you can expect if you do decide to apply for this program. Dr. Krebs is going to go over the curriculum and talk about some of the capstone projects that we have seen in the past. If you have questions or want to learn more about other parts of the curriculum, so not just the capstone projects, I highly recommend that you watch our information session recording from May 29th. That is available on YouTube. You can watch it, and where we go into more depth about what to expect in the program from the curriculum itself, as opposed to focusing just on the big capstone projects at the end. We'll talk a little bit about the virtual learning environment, but not too much. Paige is going to talk about mentorship opportunities, how we support students to get where they want to go. And then we're gonna round it all off with our student perspectives and give each of our student guests an opportunity to say what brought them to BMVC, what they learned, and what they're doing now. And we'll spend hopefully the last 20 minutes on a Q&A. So there is a Q&A feature available on this webinar. Please do put your questions in. We are going to be focusing primarily on questions that our student guests can answer, to speak about perspectives in the program. If you have questions about logistics, about very specific things, feel free to reach out to us or watch the May 29th info session for more info. Okay, so I'm going to start out with some program highlights. The Biomedical Visualization and Communication Program, BMVC as we call it, is in collaboration between the Hive, so the Hackspace for Innovation and Visualization in Education, where Paige and Dr. Krebs and I all work, the Faculty of Arts at UBC, and Extended Learning at UBC. BMVC is 100% online, so it is all done from using Zoom, using different types of virtual learning tools. You do not need to be in Vancouver to be doing this program. We have had students all across North America and some from other continents as well. Our instructor team is made up of a wonderful interdisciplinary group, folks from many different fields. So we have folks from theater and film, from digital media, from journalism, creative writing, medicine, so many different places. And I think that's one of the really special things about our program is that you have this diverse just amount of experience to learn from the instructors that we have. The BMVC program has a unique focus on diversity, inclusivity, and ethics in biomedical communications. We are acknowledging that some of the things that we've done in the past in terms of biomedical communications are not inclusive, not welcoming, or representative of everyone. And we really want to be making sure that we're thinking about how to promote change in this field from a way that is inclusive. Our curriculum is project-based, which means that we have collaboration between students, that we have a lot of different group projects, and you work on projects together to solve problems and build your skills. And as I said before, this because it's an online program, it is open to all nationalities, regardless of your residency or citizenship status in Canada. So you do not need to be a Canadian or live in Canada to take this program. We have lots of students from other countries. So BMVC is sort of sits at the intersection of biomedical concepts, design visualization, and clear communication. So these sort of three pillars, and at the very center is what BMVC is. And so it's taking these three different concepts and how do we integrate them together to tell really compelling, engaging, accurate stories about health and to communicate with other people. So in terms of program format, it goes from January to December, and we're talking about the 2025 cohort at this time. This is, applications are currently open for the 2025 cohort. Will start in January. The term starts January 6th and runs until the beginning of April. During that time, there are 2 courses that you will take. So foundations, so seeing, listening, and communicating is all about just everything you need to know to set yourself up for success in to approach biomedical communications and visualizations with confidence. And then managing creativity is a course that is about working together, how to leverage and navigate co-creation in teams. In term 2, it starts in May, runs till the beginning of August. That is our anatomy course, so human structure and function, which is taught by Dr. Krebs, who's here with us today. And then term 3 is in September, runs until December, and this is the final group capstone project. So Cameron, who is one of our guests today, he has not yet started the capstone project. We're very excited to start capstone, and our other 3 alumni have already gone through this whole process. We recommend that you can, if you are interested in this program, that you commit to a minimum of 15 hours per week to complete all of the online learning requirements. And this 15 hours a week minimum is to complete things like the asynchronous coursework, so any readings, quizzes, exercises that you might have, synchronous Zoom classes. So we have 2 2-hour classes per week, which are hosted on Zoom. Currently, they are on Mondays and Wednesdays in the afternoon Pacific time, and we're not expecting those to change at this point, but there are 2 classes that you're expected to come to during the term. Individual homework assignments, and then also group projects and remote collaboration with peers. All of those things, we recommend that you commit to a minimum of 15 hours per week to complete. In addition to those 4 things, and in addition to those minimum 15 hours per week, there's opportunity for portfolio mentorship and technical workshops. There is, so if you want to take advantage of all the things that BMVC has to offer, you're looking more at like a 20-hour per week commitment minimum. So who's this program for? So historically, we have seen learners emerging from 2 core professional or educational backgrounds. So from biomedical and health professions, or from media design and programming professionals. That is not to say that those are the only sort of backgrounds that we will consider for this program. We are open to anyone who thinks this might be a good fit for them. That being said, this is where the majority of our students come from. So you might consider this program if you are a biomedical professional or educator who wants to deepen your visualization skills. Maybe you're a graphic designer, animator, instructional designer, media consultant, someone who works in design who really wants to take on biomedical projects and work with industry that focuses on biotech or healthcare. Or maybe you're a researcher or health professional who wants to collaborate on creative projects with interdisciplinary teams. Okay, so to wrap up my section here, I'm going to start a poll, and I'm going to ask that you take a couple minutes just to answer this. The two questions we're going to ask you today are, when do you plan to take the program? So are you planning to apply for BMVC? If yes, when are you planning? And the second question is, what field of work or background of education do you have? Where are you coming from? So I'll just give this a minute or two for people to add their responses. Okay. So while you are all answering that, I'm going to move on to the next part. So Dr. Krebs, would you like to speak about our curriculum and our capstone projects?
Of course. Thanks so much, Bea. And I'm so thrilled to talk about our curriculum. I can't believe we're starting our 5th cohort in 2025. All right, well, let me have the next slide and we'll take it away. So as Bea mentioned in the introduction, we have 3 terms, and we have sort of 3 core courses and a capstone project in those terms. So in term 1, we have that managing creativity and the foundations, and that is really to set the tone for what we are aiming to do in this program, which is really to, well, change the world, change the way we do biomedical communications and visualizations. We know that people have difficulty understanding. We know that it can be overwhelming to take in so much detailed information. And it is our job to make that easier for everyone. And that's what we're going to lay the foundations for in that first term. The second term is all about the science. It's going to be really focused on learning terminology, learning structures, learning processes, learning concepts, and really flexing those science literacy muscles. Even for those who have had an anatomy course, who have an anatomy and physiology background, you will find our approach different. And I don't think that for those who've done an anatomy course will tell you a new name for the biceps muscle. That's really not what we're aiming for. But we will hopefully give you a new view onto the human body and how to understand it and how to apply everything. One thing that we should really emphasize is that term 1 and term 2 are integrated in the way that all of the things that you learn in term 1 will be applied in term 2. So we will continue, there's a continuity throughout, and that continuity is really due to the mentorship that we can provide to you throughout this. And Paige and Bea are the most amazing mentors for our students, who really take them through the process and help them become the best visualizers and communicators. That all sets the students up for the capstone project. This is real life now. We're going to have real clients that are from the community that have a need in biomedical visualization and communication. So what you learn in that managing creativity course, how to manage your own creativity, your team's creativity, and your client's creativity, that's what you're going to be doing there in those initial conversations of what this project will be about with your client. And then you get to create in a group. And I really want to emphasize this collaborative, team-based approach. You will be learning how to work together in diverse teams so that you can leverage everybody's expertise and your own towards a polished, beautiful final product. Next slide, please, Bea. All right, and we'll go to the next one. I think I've already talked about this one. I'm going to show you some of the projects that we've done in the capstone project before, because this is really the culmination of sort of our student skills and what our program really aims to do. So we're going to put you into teams of 4 to 5 students. That won't be new to you because you will have been in teams of 2, 3, 4, 5 students throughout your entire training with us. We're going to offer you a range of topics. This year, we have everything from the Delta Naturalist Society to pediatric cardiologists, right? So there's a really wide range of topics and sort of techniques and technologies that the clients want to use. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to show you this one. This was a beautiful project. It was done together with the midwifery department, and it shows the cardinal movement of labor. So what the students did here is they took a model of the pelvis and a baby model that they then customized for our purposes here. They inserted a newborn skull scan that we had in there so that we knew where the fontanelles are and could highlight that. It's all based on actual data sets, and then worked really extensively with midwives in order to create this beautiful animation. This project, which is sort of video based here, was then taken up by students at UBC, and we created an augmented reality experience where you can sort of watch these cardinal movements of labor and in any sort of way that you want. Okay, next slide. I could watch this all day. Okay, this one was a social media project. So it was done in collaboration with the Western Canadian Children's Heart Network, and they really wanted to have sort of accessible explanations for the children on what procedures they were going to do. And in talking with the clients, it became clear that Instagram was going to be the way to contact the children and engage them and explain things to them. So the challenge for the team was to create something that was appropriate for the audience, scientifically correct, and would meet the medium of Instagram. This is being used right now. This is live, and the Western Canadian Children's Heart Network is communicating using this wonderful work about the procedures that the children will undergo. Next slide, please. This one's very close to my heart. So this is the website for the UBC body donation program. Before our students kind of redesigned the website, it was very technical and very word-centered. It was like, thank you for wanting to donate your body. Here are the steps. Here are the form. Please send your completed form to the following address. In sort of the redesign of this, already with the sort of graphic at the middle, you can see that everything is focused on empathy and community and collaboration. It's about telling the stories of donors and of people who will be using those donated bodies in their education, and really making it accessible for donors, what the process is, and making it gentle, talking about end-of-life planning and what this type of donation entails. Again, this website is live and is being used right now by UBC. Next slide, please. Okay, and with that, I am so thrilled to hand it over to Paige, who's going to talk about the mentorship opportunities. This mentorship is so core to this certificate, and I think it is really so much added value beyond the coursework that comes from this. Paige, take it away.
Thanks, Claudia. Hi, everyone. My name is Paige. I'm sorry you can't see me, and I'm here to tell you about our mentorship opportunities. So one thing that we value in all of you is that you're all coming from different backgrounds. You have different goals, and you have a different vision for yourself. So in our initial meeting in January, we make sure to talk with each of you and discuss what those goals are, and to come up as best as we can with an individualized plan for you, which takes into account your existing skills, your schedule. You know, we're realistic. Some of you will be working part-time, full-time, and some of you, this will just be the thing that you're working on. So we want to make really realistic goals for you. And B and I are here to kind of be your accountability partners for the year. We really want you to leverage us, our knowledge, the network we have for you. Anything we can do to support you in reaching your goals, we're gonna be there for it. And the other thing that we offer And by the way, and part of that is knowing that you can reach out to us anytime if you want to make a weekly meeting with us, a bi-weekly, anything you need to see your goals through. And the other thing that we offer is online portfolio support. So we know that you're going to be coming in here expecting to make new things, and you're going to be changing, and you want to put your best self forward when you move into your next steps into your career after this program. And creating an online portfolio and online presence is part of that. So one thing we offer is portfolio mentorship to help you build your website, build your presence, and talk about the creative biomedical visualization person that you want to be. Next slide, please, B. So one thing that we've implemented this year is something called a skills passport, and it's kind of like an accountability tool, and it's also a way for you to really visualize the skills you need to work on for every project, for every skill you want to learn. And there's 4 categories. Our categories are communication skills, visualization skills, workflow and iterative design skills, and research skills. Our biggest goal for you is that you come out well-rounded and that you come out confident knowing that you can, be a really awesome communicator. In terms of communication, we want to make sure that all the science communication you're putting out there is clear, and the way that you speak with people or communicate, maybe even, emails with people, is clear. We want to make sure that you have excellent presentation skills so that you really can put the best version of yourself and what you are presenting to the world out there. And we really value participation in our cohort and networking. Visualization skills, layout and composition, understanding where to place things, how to make a compelling composition depending on the target audience and the project. And art fundamentals is a touchy one because some people want to come out, professional medical illustrators, and some people just want to come out being able to represent things that people could understand. So art fundamentals, we talk about it. That's something that's personal for you. Workflow and iterative design. We make sure that you come out with really great collaboration skills. We're going to be giving you tools to collaborate with a team that you've probably never used before. We want to make sure that all the things you're making are designed for and with other people. We want to eliminate all of our biases. Ideation and drafts, making sure that any idea that you have, we can take it and document it from the brainstorm phase all the way to that final phase so that you can present something to all of your clients that you work with and say, hey, here's how I work. And integration of feedback. Well, integrating feedback is one of the best things you can do to progress. So we really make sure that you stay accountable to that. And finally, in terms of research, this is a science communication and visualization program. So we want to make sure that your science literacy is up to par, and that you've got really well-rounded research strategies. And we want to encourage everybody to play with AI and see where it fits in their workflows. And of course, all of you want to come to this program learning something new, so we keep you accountable for that too with your upskilling and self-guided learning to make sure that when you leave this program, you leave knowing that you can teach yourself just about anything. Next slide, B. So we just wanted to show you a few examples of students who really leveraged mentorship with us. This is an example of a student. Her name is Ashley. She'd never done anything like this before. She'd never done Adobe Illustrator. She'd never put text and pictures together before. So we kind of show her journey as she's figuring out layout and composition and which colors to use. And this was Ashley meeting with us once every week or two, just to talk about how she upskilled and what she learned and how she was putting it together and continuously integrating feedback. So for someone who'd never done art in a professional setting before and coming out with this in 4 weeks, we're pretty proud of this example as one of our students. Next slide, please, B. Similar with Sarah. Sarah really wanted to jump into 3D, and we have a life cycle. Oh, so yeah, both projects that we just showed are our life cycle project that we do in our first term. And Sarah wanted to do hers on the oyster mushroom, the life cycle of an oyster mushroom from spore to mushroom. And this is an example of how it started and how it ended as well after weekly meetings with B and I. And I think it speaks for itself. Next one, please, B. workshops. All right.
Paige, do you want to speak about workshops?
I would love to speak about workshops. Okay. So, we provide workshops. They're optional. They're offered throughout the year, and they are on a wide variety of topics. Typically, there's a digital design software like Adobe, because that's the industry standard. We also do a lot of traditional media like watercolor and sketching. We have a ton of guest speakers, and we are open to hosting a workshop on something that you are interested in. So, if you want something that's not typically offered, or you don't see it in our schedule, you just reach out to us and ask, and we hopefully find the person who can provide you that workshop. So, yeah, and here are just some topics of workshops that we have done in the past and will continue to do, including the Adobe Creative Cloud. We have our 3D Blender workshops, which are, we've changed this year. Now we do something called 3D Club on Thursdays. It's led by one of our awesome instructors, Ishan. We've done figure drawing and line drawing, watercolor. We have one of our most successful workshops is Career Night with it's a Q&A with medical illustrators and other professionals in industry right now, as well as our Q&A with BMBC alumni. Our students really appreciate this, and they get a lot of networking opportunities out of it. We do a lot of peer critique and feedback sessions so that you can get feedback and integrate it into your projects. And we have an awesome workshop once a year. I don't know if I should even tell you the whole thing because it's kind of like a big surprise, but it's like a weekend workshop, and it teaches you how to draw using touch, and it's something we're really excited about every year. Next slide, please, B. All right.
Okay, so we are very excited to now hear from some of our students. So Cameron, you're currently in the program right now. You're like 2/3 of the way through. Do you want to tell us a bit about, what your background was before, what your experience of the program has been, what you're hoping to get out of it?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Cameron Kirk. Just like B said, I am currently a student in the 2024 cohort. Originally, my background was in publishing and media, so that puts me solidly into the camp of people in the cohort who don't really have hard science backgrounds. But even with that, everybody's been really, really accommodating. I've been having a great time in class. I was going to say really quick, my whole goal coming into this course was to focus primarily on medical illustration and animation. And looking at the two things that I've made, you can see there's a real variety of work that we go through in the class. The project on the left is the life cycle project that happens in term one. Mine was on nudie branches, which are a kind of sea slug. And then the comic on the right-hand side is a comic done in term two, which focuses on menstruation, specifically how menstruation has affected the female identity throughout the years and over a millennia of different things going on in history. I think looking at both, if I could emphasize two things that I really got out of the class so far that I've appreciated, it's the willingness to kind of explore different mediums. If you look at the nudie branch poster on the side, it's a 2D painted sea slug on top of a 3D modeled kind of reef that I made. So there's a real sort of opportunity to explore different things. And in addition to that, I feel like coming away from the course so far, I've been really delighted to see that so much of it focuses on refining and developing your own workflow. I'm definitely the kind of person where, I'll push research to the back end and eventually just never get to what I wanted to. So it's been really cool to kind of develop step by step how I'd approach different projects. And the fact I think things have been really good. I've been really pleased at the direction I'm going in, and we'll see what happens with capstone stuff. So
Oh,
thanks for
you're
having
gonna
me.
love capstone. It's gonna be great. Thank you so much, Cameron. Okay. Jennifer graduated from our program last December. Jennifer, welcome. Would you like to tell us a bit about you and your journey?
Sure, thanks, B. So I am Jennifer Walter. I was in last year's cohort, and I come from the science background, so very little art except for what I did as a kid, and none in the digital area. So that was my focus approaching the year and trying to take as much as the workshops and do all the things that they offered. And this one in particular, the portfolio workshops that Paige and Bee offer are second to none. And so I was freelancing at the time as a medical writer, and my goal was to do both medical writing and more on the visual side of things. And I was trying to split my website into two different streams. And so this is what we're looking at, the final product. I made the neuron background in Blender as one of the assignments that we did. I made all the icons in Illustrator, and the watercolor is also from one of our assignments. So I kind of incorporated everything we did in class into my portfolio.
And then Jen, did you want to talk about this? Because this was part of your capstone project.
Yeah, so our capstone was for Life on ADT, which is a therapy for prostate cancer. And our client wanted to simplify how he was telling his, he was basically telling patients what it would be like on this treatment that has a lot of side effects. And so my particular one was looking at red blood cells and how ADT decreases red blood cells. And so we looked at the easiest way to do this without taking up a ton of time, because he also needed it pretty quickly. So I did all the images in Illustrator and then did an animation in PowerPoint, and then it turned into a GIF.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Anything else that you want to talk about your experience or how this program, like what you're doing now, actually? What would you?
Honestly, it was kind of a life-changing experience for me. I had planned to freelance in doing medical writing and visual communication, and ended up joining one of my freelance clients as a medical writer, graphic designer back in March. And it's been a wonderful experience. I'm continually learning new things every day. But because of the way that the program was set up, I have been able to kind of dive into each new project that I get and troubleshoot on my own before having to go to my colleagues. And it's been a very rewarding experience so far. And I mean, I can't wait to see what I keep learning and developing at my company. But it's been, we do learning and marketing solutions for pharma. So it's exactly what I was looking for, and I'm having a great time.
Oh, we're excited to see what you do, because I know that it's only been a few months, like you haven't even been graduated for a year, and we're excited to see where you take all of this. So thank you, Jen. Okay, Ravneet, would you like to tell us about your experience? You graduated at the end of 2022 and have been doing many things since then.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Ravneet. I graduated in 2022. I came from a science background, but I have a lot of experience with doing art in high school, that I continued to do it on the side during my undergrad as well. So I was just trying to continue strengthening my art skills. My goal coming into this program was mostly to gain more of an insight into biomedical communication and visualization. This program, as you know, how it was introduced, it's so different. The way it's taught, it has a very unique approach that you learn so many skills that you can apply going forward. So I know the workshops were mentioned previously, and I attended most of these workshops that happened, mostly because I really wanted to create a good online portfolio website. So these are a few of my pieces that I put on the website of mine. And I think we have more detail on, yeah. So this is one of the pieces that I created in the program itself. My goal was really to create an anatomical piece. I was always very fascinated by like the detail and how the research goes. So this is actually a piece that I also used for, I don't know if you guys know of the UFT's Biomedical Communication Master's Program. It's the Master of Science in Biomedical Communications. I'm actually going to be starting that program next week in like 5 days, so I'm super excited. And this is one of the portfolio pieces that I included in the program. I continue to work on this piece after I even finished the program. So I even got help from Dr. Claudia Krebs and got some more feedback from more professionals out there, such as a physiotherapist. So it's really important to take back feedback and not be set on, what's the final piece. Make sure you continue to apply the feedback that you get, be open to learning new things, keep making changes. And yeah, so during this piece was made during the anatomy term, but I applied a lot of the resources that we get. So you get access to the atlases through the UBC library. I utilize those. I utilize 3D atlases to create this piece. And overall, I would say this program was just such an eye-opener for me. I had a really good experience. I made great connections. Another thing that I recently started, I just finished my job because I'm going to be starting the master's program. I was previously working at a drug discovery company as a scientist, and a really great opportunity came for me like right in time after I finished this job. I started working as a freelance graphic designer at a medical communication company. So I'm super excited that I'll be continuing to work as I do my master's, and then let's see what I learned in this master's. I'm excited.
Wow, Ravneet, you're going to be so busy starting in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, I already got my syllabus for my anatomy portion actually just yesterday. And it's crazy because I'm like, I have to already start doing the readings before this class starts.
Well, we're really, really glad that you persevered through. Like, I know that this was your goal to enter the U of T biomedical communications program, and you worked really hard to iterate on your portfolio and build your skills. And I know you took a UI boot camp at some point also after finishing the MVC. And I'm just really excited to see you blossom into reaching all your goals and becoming the medical illustrator that you really want to be. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. And then finally, Olivia, would you like to tell us all about your experience and what you were doing before you came to BMVC and what you're doing now?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for having me. And I'm just feeling so inspired hearing everyone talk about their journeys. And it's just so interesting to me. I know we go back in time here with 2021 being the first cohort, but it's just so cool to see how the program's evolved, how it just keeps getting better and better, and just to see the quality of students and the quality of products. Like, I'm just so impressed and inspired. But yeah, my name's Olivia. I joined the program in 2021, kind of height of the pandemic. And I don't think I necessarily went into it wanting to walk away as a medical illustrator or kind of a visualization or communication expert per se, but I was really, really curious about kind of building those muscles and capacity. I think I realized I like research, but I like talking more about research rather than maybe doing the research. And I am really passionate about creating informed societies and helping people understand what all of this information means. So yeah, I kind of used the program as a way of one, exploring these areas and seeing, do I actually like these things? But two, then to just, build that muscle, build that capacity, and see if I can apply it to the work I do. So I've moved out of research. I now work as an injury prevention specialist for the BC Centre for Disease Control and Island Health. So again, I'm not necessarily doing any kind of visualizations, but lots of communication. And since it's a public health role, I'm really helping both the people I work with and the public understand all of these different health contexts and bits of information related to injury. So it kind of works twofold. I work with communities, but I also help package data, information, evidence, etc., for policymakers so that they can actually put things into practice and keep our community safe. But just to go back, I guess, to what I worked on in the program, on the left-hand side was the comic I did. And so that was related to my PhD work where I studied concussions in ice hockey players. So I think something I really loved and took away from the program was just like, again, all these different medias and forms to talk about things that I would have never thought about. So one is comic books. I remember we had to do a bit of a song on the digestive system. I'm not saying you have to do those things, but it was just so cool to have my mind open of like all the different ways that we can talk about things. And importantly, again, Cameron kind of touched on it about process. So kind of understanding who my audience is, what do they need to hear? Maybe what you think is the best way to do something isn't, and how can we kind of like humanize the work, bring empathy into the work, and all of that good stuff. And that kind of led into the capstone project, which is on the right. So my team and I, we partnered with the Heart Life Foundation and created kind of a suite of patient resources to help those experiencing heart failure navigate the system, understand maybe like how to manage their medications, how to contact community and kind of feel a bit more connected to those also experiencing the same thing. So those are two kind of outputs, but truly I think like everything you learn of the curriculum, it's so interesting. I just find there's like maybe unexpected ways in which it feeds into the work you do. And so even my Microsoft Teams planner, it's literally built out like the agile workshop we did with like Patrick in one of the units. So it's just interesting to see how things have kind of manifested over the years as a consequence of being in the program. But again, I agree with what Jennifer is saying. It was life-changing, game-changing. This program holds a very close piece of my heart, and I'm just excited to continue to see how it grows and support all of you potential students that might come into it.
Oh, Olivia, we're so glad that, three and a half years later, you're still reaping the benefits of having been in BMVC. And it's so wonderful to hear that you're finding the places to do what you want to do. I remember when you were in the program, you were still finishing your PhD. You were a PhD student and a BMVC student at the same time. And I'm just so glad to see you coming into this space especially with your new role, because it's very new for you. And seeing you put all of these pieces to work, all these skills, and just growing so much. So we're so excited for you.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
Thank you.
But I think
Olivia.
it's like, yeah, no problem. But I think again, it's a testament to the team, yourself, Paige, Dr. Krebs, and the program, where it truly feels like it's a choose your adventure type situation where you'll get out of it what you put into it. So even as they were talking about it, I think all of us past alumni and current students can provide testimony to the fact that like, yeah, if you come in here wanting to get certain things, that it's totally feasible and possible. It's nice to, I don't think I've ever had such a supportive group of mentors and teachers in any other program I've done. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Okay, so these are our 4 students we had. I want to talk a little bit about applications and fees later, but let's first make sure that we answer any questions that are in the Q&A. So I know Paige, Dr. Krebs, and I have been typing out answers to some of the questions here, but there's still a few that are here. So Olivia just mentioned that it's very much a choose your own adventure type of program. I think that's a really good way to put it, because we have students coming in from so many different backgrounds with so many different levels of experience and different types of goals. So this is not just it's not a program that is for a very specific type of applicant with a very specific type of goal. It could be for so many different outcomes that you want to look at. So there's a question here that says, do you have employment statistics for recent graduates? And what percentage finds meaningful employment in the field? Any details on salary, part-time, full-time, and remote? Which is a really great question. And because everyone has so many different sort of trajectories that not everyone is looking for employment necessarily. Some people are looking for adding skills to their toolkit in the roles that they already have. Some people are looking for changes in career. Some are looking to go, like what Ravneet was talking about, wanting to not get employment, but instead go into a master's program. So it's a very difficult question to answer. However, the students who put in the work and the time and are making the most of BMVC, almost all of them have gotten to a place where they have found meaningful outcomes after the program. Paige, did you want to elaborate a bit more on that?
I'm just trying to think. I think you answered it really well, B. We have students who, just like B said, they want to come in and they want to just get to a next level, whether that's a master's degree or a job. I think Jen is one of our great examples. You know, maybe Jen, do you want to speak quickly about what it was like for you to network for yourself and what your journey was to find those new opportunities?
Sure. Yeah, I was not planning on getting an actual full-time job. I was happily freelancing before the program and during the program. But through freelancing and meeting a lot of people in the program, an opportunity arose and I couldn't turn it down. I didn't know this job ever existed. And it fits exactly what my career goals are. And it was kind of luck of the draw. So I do agree that there's no way to kind of put X amount of people are going to get into this job, because I think everyone in my cohort wanted something different. I think not one person wanted the same thing. So I think it's a very tricky question to ask, but also so many opportunities are there. Like you meet, it opens so many doors. So jobs that I didn't know existed before now exist. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jennifer. That was really helpful. I'm just going to jump in here because I really want to emphasize that that is the core strength of this program, that we take in a diversity of learners. And while we offer a core framework, the individualized mentorship and the individualized support to get you towards your personal goals is really what makes this stand apart. That is what really helps our students achieve their skills passport competencies, achieve their portfolio goals, achieve all those things that they want to do. Somebody might come in and say, I really want to learn more in traditional media and, become that person. That is very different from somebody who comes in and says, my goal is to do molecular 3D animations. And that's very different from somebody who comes in and says, I want to work for a health authority to help them put forward effective communication. See, the goals are different, and we are able to work with every learner individually to achieve those goals.
Thanks, Dr. Krebs. So I hope that gives some insight into that question. I know it's not the number question that you're probably looking for, but I think it's a lot more realistic about what to expect from this program. So there is a question here. Also, as a freelancer, where do the graduates find clients? So again, Jen, I'm going to ask you, because you found freelance opportunities even while you were in the program, not just after you graduated, and that was sort of your goal, was to do freelance. Can you talk about like how did you find those opportunities? How did they come to you? How did you go out and get them?
Sure. So the majority of my clients came from LinkedIn, actually. Recruiters would message me and then I would talk to them, and then it usually would be a medical communication agency that was swamped and needed extra like helping hands. I also applied to any medical communication agency, which is what happened, I believe, with my current company. If they have a place to apply for contractors or freelancers, I just sent my application in, and this was 2 years ago, I believe, maybe 3 now, and then you get in their pool. And so I think a few of them have that. I know I'm trying to think of some of the names. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm blanking right now, but if you want, I can send you some additional names. But it's through LinkedIn and reaching out to HR at companies.
Thanks, Jen. I'm just gonna hop off of what Jen said, or hop onto what Jen said, which is that yeah, the freelancing opportunities are dependent on how well you present yourself and how often you present yourself, whether it's LinkedIn or people you're talking to at a conference or in the mall. It really just depends on how open you are to finding people and making connections, and that's something that we practice as part of the curriculum as well.
So I just add one last thing. There's also freelancing websites that you can look at. So Upwork and Fiverr. So those are options. They're a little tricky because there's going to be a lot of people going for those ones. But those are options as well.
Thanks, Jen. So there's a couple questions here, and I know that they were answered with typed answers, but I just want to, because we have 4 students from very different backgrounds, there's questions about like how much graphic design do you need to know? How many artistic skills do you need to know to come into this? And then on the flip side, like how much science do you need to know coming in this? And so I wonder if like, you know, our guests here who have strong backgrounds in science, like how much did you feel like you really needed to have those design and art skills coming in? And for Cameron, the vice versa. I wonder if you guys could speak to that a little bit. And if no one goes, I'm going to say, Cameron, go first.
I thought we were going to do science first, but that's okay. I can do art
Right.
perspectives. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a little intimidating, like at first signing up for this entire class because, you know, I was coming from publishing without any sort of hard science background. I feel like the last major anatomy class I had was in high school. So coming into the course, I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I can draw pretty well. I feel like I have graphic design experience, but like, what if I like sink when it comes to anatomy? And I was really like delighted to find that the class is built around really what you want to get out of it. I feel like that's what Paige and B and Dr. Krebs have been saying this whole time. It's like if you want to get really, really specific for certain projects on like new anatomical topics, feel free. But I found the kind of framework that anatomy teaches you really accommodating to people's different sort of like past experiences. It's been very, very helpful for me kind of reviewing and going through stuff, even if I haven't like come from a place that has had that background before.
Thanks, Cameron. Olivia, how about you? I mean, you were doing a PhD in kinesiology and have had a very strong science background. What was it like coming in?
Yeah. I think 2 thoughts that come to mind were even coming in with that background, that anatomy course was incredible because I had learned anatomy previously, but the way in which it was taught was unlike anything I've ever experienced, and in the best way. Like, imagine it felt like Dr. Krebs, you were able to humanize learning about the human body, which kind of sounds crazy when I say it out loud, but yeah, it's much more than an anatomy class. Yes, you learn the nuts and bolts and functions and structures and things, but the way that there's conversations on ethics and such that are integrated into the curriculum, like it's just so wholesome, but also sometimes like challenging in a good way, like challenging the notions of the things you know. And anyways, the point of that was just like there was so much more to learn. So I never felt like it was redundant or like, oh, I'm ahead of the game because I've already learned these things. It was like, no, like I was learning a lot of different stuff, but in a very digestible and interesting way. And in terms of coming in with like an art background, I guess short answer is no, I don't feel like I was at a disadvantage by not coming in with like extensive Adobe experience or Procreate experience, etc. Like I had dabbled a little bit, but again, on that choose your adventure thing, I think if you come into the program wanting to hone in on those hard skills, there's opportunity for you to do that. If you don't have experience in those skills, but you want to grow in those capacities. There's opportunity to do that. So yeah, I think it's kind of unique in that really it's not really dependent on what you come in with per se, but rather what you want to get out of it. I think that's the more important part, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Olivia. That's great. Ravneet, what about you? Did you, because I know you were drawing and illustrating like by yourself. You hadn't studied it, but where did that sort of come together for BMBC for you?
I would say the thing that helped me the most, I wasn't too afraid that I didn't have, had studied in the arts, but something that I guess I just needed to take extra time to work on outside of the workshops would be using the Adobe softwares. And there's so many resources out there online. And then there's also workshops that are run by, I believe they're run by now Ishan, Paige, and B, correct? And yeah, so those help me a lot. And other than that, I would say it isn't so, artistically, you don't have to be so artistically advanced that you can't, complete the project. It's really, someone might be able to put in more detail than the other, but it's really, how do I say it? Like, I want to say that it's really about bettering yourself. So it's whatever skill set you start with, be okay with that, accept it, and continue to grow with that. So yeah, it's person to person kind of thing for me.
Thanks, Ravneet. Jen, did you have anything to add quickly or?
Just quickly, since it's almost 4, or not 4 for you guys, but 4 for me. I came in with a very strong science molecular biology background, but I have a PhD in molecular biology, but no anatomy for 20 years. So all of the anatomy and all of the learning from that was also beneficial to me, and all of the art, because I didn't have any of it. So I look back at some of my illustrations I made in January, and it's kind of embarrassing to look at them, but it's been a nice journey to see where I started and where I finished. So yeah, there's things that you can take away. I know we keep saying this, but there's things that you take away from how you want to. All the workshops they're optional, but if you join this program, go to all of them. That's my only advice.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, so we have only a couple minutes left, so I'm going to quickly talk about the application and fees. So we are currently accepting applications to the BMBC program. The deadline for applications is September 15th, and then we will be sending out decisions in early October. This application is for a January 2025 start date. So to submit your application, there is a $175 non-refundable application fee. And then if you are accepted, then the tuition for the program is $12,250 Canadian. This is payable in 3 installments, so it's not all upfront. It is spread out with several months between each one. Before you apply for the program, we do highly recommend you read our website and go through the program handbook. There is a link to a PDF to this handbook on the website that goes through all of our just program policies and things that you need to know before you say, yes, I can totally commit to this. The requirements that we're looking for are minimum 2 years post-secondary experience, any background. We are not, we're not choosy about if it's a science background, an art background, a business background. If you want to be here and you think that this is the right place, we will consider your application. We request that 2-year minimum post-secondary experience so that you are ready and have some experience with the level of academic rigor that this program is going to be expecting. And then most importantly is your motivation. So your letter of intent is part of the application. We really want to see your reasons for why you think this is a good fit for you, why this program will help you achieve the goals that you have for yourself. So once you pay the application fee, you can complete the online application. And then there will be a Zoom meeting with the BMVC instructional team to discuss your goals and just make sure we are all on the same page. Decisions will be sent out in early October. So we've already done our questions and answers. This is all of our contact information. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of these contact pieces here, to myself, to Paige. We are more than happy to chat if you're still not really sure, but you would like to get some perspective on your own unique situation. So thank you everyone for coming. It is officially 1 o'clock, so we're at our time, and we look forward to reading your applications when you submit. So thank you very much, everyone.